Pretty big game tonight on TNT. You might want to check it out. And if you've been under a rock, you don't know what's going on, but of course you do. That's why you're watching NBA TV. Kawhi had a career-high 45 points in his last game, 5-0, when he scores 35 or more. That's what Toronto is this year. And DeMar DeRozan fitting in nicely. So far this season, the Spurs are 12-1 when he shoots 50% or better. He'll get up some shots tonight, the mid-range assassin. And then you have a Western showdown between the Denver Nuggets and the Sacramento Kings, two teams who have exceeded expectations so far this season. The Nuggets, #1 in the West. The Sacramento Kings, a team that people expected to be in the lottery, not competing for a spot in the Western Conference. Jet, we've been talking about these two teams. They've been somewhat of a surprise to some, not to everyone, not to basketball experts like yourself who kind of predicted the Nuggets having a great season. We'll talk about the Nuggets in a second, but looking at Sacramento, seeing what they've done, it seems like they're ahead of schedule, especially a player like De'Aaron Fox who's playing well at the point guard position.
Yeah, it came a point in the season where they were playing decent basketball. And then it was like, are we going to play the young players or are we going to try to play some of our veterans and win? And then they realized playing their young players would get them wins. And so it became from an outsider looking in, it became like an internal decision-making process to say, man, should we play these young guys? Not realizing that the young guys were going to make them win. And now they realize that. And that their youth, even though they're inexperienced, they have a lot of talent which supersedes certain things. So if you play at a fast enough pace, some of their deficiencies don't show. And soon as but what's happening now is after these, 35, 40 games, now all of a sudden the game is starting to slow down a little bit. And this is when you have to see if these guys can understand how to win. Are they going to lose 7 out of their next 10, or are they going to win 7 out of their next 10? This is the turning point, and this is where we'll see what they're made of. Now the scouting report is out on the Sacramento Kings.
Well, you talked about a turning point. We're sitting in here a week ago watching the game when they're playing the Lakers at home. They come back. They're
with
down,
no LeBron.
With LeBron not in the lineup, but still, they're still down to all the other Lakers. And they managed to come back. Bogdanovich hits the big shot.
Yeah.
Moments like that, how can you take that as a young team? And
that's not the moment for me.
That's not the.
No, the moments are now, like Denver Nuggets, fully loaded. Teams that are really saying we need to keep our position. So, as a person who's been on both ends of the spectrum, I've been on a Sacramento team when I was young in my career that really had nothing to play for. Then I've been on a Rocket team that had everything to play for. So I know how we take games like this if you're the Denver Nuggets, trying to hold on first, and also I know how you take it if you're Sacramento. So for me, as a game like tonight, it will slow down. And they will have about a 5-minute stretch in the third or fourth quarter where they have to play half-court basketball. And that's what we'll see, what they're made of and how they're made. And to me, that's when you watch and see what happens.
Sacramento so far 8-15, playing teams that are above 500. Moving on to the Denver Nuggets, who have been right around either first or sitting in second so far in the Western Conference, able to tread water per se while they've had a number of injuries. Millsap's been out, Trey Lyles has been out, Gary Harris has been out. Some of those players are back now, and it seems like they're ready to make that run into the second half of the season. What do you see watching this team? Do you see the consistency that you would like from this roster?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this Denver Nugget team is special in the sense of playing together. And you think about this. At the beginning of the season, we were like, how much will Isaiah Thomas help this team? Remember that name?
That's right.
Like, that was what we were talking about. How much will this guy come off their bench or even possibly at times start for them and help this team? That's a name that we haven't even heard of or thought of. And we heard Jokic saying in the preseason pickups, no one has seen what Isaiah Thomas has been doing. This guy is ready. And all of a sudden, this team has played well. Jamal Murray has played well. And they've just been able to plug in at certain parts of the season, and a very good, young, talented team.
Someone else who is young and talented, he will be giving his expert analysis.
Talented, I don't know about young.
In Game 1 tonight, live from San Antonio. He clearly got the memo to wear the gray blazer with the black tie and the white shirt. Thank you, C. Webb, joining us on Game Time.
Happy New Year, fellas. Yeah, great minds think alike, bro. You know how it is.
Hey, you know how we do. Now, Webb, you've been in situations in your career coming back playing against your former team in that arena. You know, you go back to Golden State, you go back to Washington, etc. You know, a lot of emotions are there. What feelings and emotions are going through a player's head as they visit a place they once called home, like Kawhi is going to do tonight?
Yeah, you just want to do everything you can. I remember going to Golden State and being ready to play. And after missing a play, I dove on the floor and dislocated my shoulder. And it was a play in which I shouldn't have dove on the floor for, but I had so much energy that it took me out the game. It took me out for almost a half a year, and then I had to wait until Golden State came to our arena, and they got a 40-piece and a triple-double. You know, you got to throw that in there. But the whole time you were angry and you were waiting for them. You know, you feel, you know, I don't know if you saw the quote by DeRozan today who said, you know, he felt like it was the girl that he wanted to marry and he didn't get to marry her. And that's pretty strong terms. But, you know, he's been there for 9 years, the only 9 professional years that he knew, and he put it on the map. And to me, he's the best Raptor ever. No, he's not better. Have a better body of work than T-Mac or a better body of work than Vince Carter. But as far as in that organization, he's the best they've ever had because he leads them in so many franchise categories. So just imagine you set the tone. This new millennium, players know this place because of you. Not many players want to go there because they go through customs every game, because they don't have the same TV setup, because it's a hockey town or a hockey country. And so I think he felt like he took a lot of sacrifice on and that he carried that banner proud. And it hurts you when you're like, me? You want me to go after what I did for you? And so you understand what he's going through, but he understands as well it's a business, and he's playing some of the best basketball of his career right now.
You know, see, Webb, if you look at the overall structure now of the Toronto Raptors, you know, the one question I asked, you know, for you were upset going back. And now we have Leonard going back, Kawhi. Would you go over, if you're Kawhi, and go to each member of their staff before the game, or you would wait till after the game when it's not in public? What would you do if you were Kawhi Leonard?
Well, I really don't have nothing to say. I didn't have nothing to say to nobody till the game started. You know, truthfully, I was going back to play against Juwan, and I had been talking to him every day, so it was cool to go hug him and say what's up. But, I mean, it's not a kumbaya moment, or y'all would have wanted me here. Like, let's not get emotional now. I got some work to do. Y'all got to get this business. Then we can talk about hi, goodbye. But you know how it is, Kenny, when guys got traded from your team and you missed them. It wasn't personal against you. You would go over there and hug the guy. So I'm sure he's going to interact.
Are you going to hug Popovich? That's what I'm asking, C-Webb.
No,
would you hug Popovich?
No. But I did. No. But I did just talk to Popovich, Kenny.
Right.
And it's so funny what he just said, and I'm going to try to reiterate during the show tonight. What he said is, listen, that whole comment about not being a leader, he said this is how it went down. Someone said to him, hey, listen, who's the leaders of your team? He said Patty Mills and I forgot the other player, Danny Green and Patty Mills. And that's what he said. And the guy said, wait, Kawhi Leonard wasn't a leader? And he said, well, that wasn't his role. We were trying to make him into the best player on the team. And also, he was hurt all last season, so he couldn't be the leader in the locker room. Now, that's what Coach Popovich just told me.
It's still a shot.
He told me that it was
it's still a
overblown.
Shot. It's still a
Kenny,
shot.
I'm with you. He told me it was overblown, and that's not what it is, because this is what I said the whole time, Kenny. This is a leader. I don't care if you can talk, if you can't see, if you can't hear. If the best person in the world has the ball and you need a stop, who do you ask to go check that man? That's the leader of your team. and you know how it is. A lot of guys are rah-rah. A lot of guys talk all that. But you kind of want that guy that you can depend on. And to me, dependability makes you a leader, not necessarily what you say. So that's Pop's story. And, you know, he said he and Kawhi had texts during the summer. Kawhi didn't return his last text. I'm not surprised. But we'll see. It should be a good one tonight.
It's going to be a good one in D.C. Webb, thanks for joining us, my man. We'll talk to you soon.
He returned his text.
You, but no, I would not be hugging Pop.
No
Kenny,
hugging?
you know
okay,
that.
there it is. I'm just checking, brother.
Hugging,
I wouldn't be hugging
I'd throw you the deuces and keep walking.
I'd point at you.
Yeah.
Give you one of those.
That magic,
the head nod.
The head nod.
Yo, you get the head nod.
That's it. Keep on walking, like C.C. Pennison once said. So tonight, Kawhi Leonard back at home. Point total.
He didn't return his text. That's funny.
How many is Kawhi going for tonight?
He's going for that W, man. I think overall he's never been a guy who's been a stat guy. So, he had 45 the last game out, but I would imagine that he didn't say to himself, I'm trying to get 40 tonight. You play against Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's like, I'm going to get 40. You play against Michael Jordan, true story, when we played against Sacramento, and Reggie Theus had said some not so kind things about Michael. And he said, Kenny, just let him know I'm coming for 50 tonight. And he said he wants to get 50. He got 49 and was mad, I'll tell you that much. But that's another story. But those guys come at you differently. Kawhi Leonard is, I'm going to do everything to make my team win. And at the end of the game, you're going to look at it. DeMar DeRozan is more of a scorer type guy. So he's a guy who I would look for big numbers to show his old team that I got 30, 40 points on you and you couldn't stop me. Kawhi has never been that type of player. So I think that he might be, we had the other night, 5 times 5, that means 5 in every category.
Yeah.
We might see that from Kawhi.
So there's no chance. We've seen Kawhi has been unflappable. He doesn't really show too much emotion, but this is something that we've never seen, him going back to a place to where he said he put his blood, sweat, and tears for. You don't think the emotions are going to take control?
Oh, the emotions are there. But we heard his laugh this summer for the first time. So I don't know how his emotional output is going to be. If he's excited, I don't know what that's going to sound like because I didn't understand the laugh. So I have no idea, but I know he's emotional. There's no player in the world that would not be. There's the laugh. So there's no player in the history of basketball who got traded wouldn't be emotional in this, and especially what he's done for that city and that franchise. And the same with DeMar. There's no guy who would not be emotional playing against their former team, what DeMar has done for the Toronto Raptors in the 2000s. So, he became the new Vince Carter. He became the face of Toronto.
Very true. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because San Antonio, they beat the Toronto Raptors franchise 9 straight games in their building. So
Can I hear that laugh one more time?
A monumental. Where's the Kawhi laugh? Kenny, the Jet Smith. You'll see him on TNT later on. Thanks for joining us. Come strong.
Right.
Appreciate you.
Row your boat, baby.
Of course, as always, keeping it going on Game Time. We have more. There is Kawhi. We just talked about him. Put up 45 in his last game, averaging 30 points per game over the last 14. What is he going to do tonight? Jess said he ain't going for numbers. He's going for the dub.
Going for the dub.
Going for the dub. DeMar, your thoughts. More Game Time coming up.